What's the first step you should take to make your portfolio more discoverable online? And how can you build your visibility online without the burnout? I'm joined by Heidi Suutari to help you with exactly that in this episode of Architecture Business Club, the weekly podcast for small firm founders who want to build their dream business in architecture and enjoy more freedom, flexibility and fulfillment in what they do. I'm John Clayton, your host. Having spent over 20 years working in architecture, I know how hard it can be to explain your services so people truly understand and value what you do. Many firms struggle with this, but by sharing your stories on podcasts, you can become the trusted voice in your market, grow your brand, and attract much better clients. We can help you with everything from podcast strategy and launch, production and management, podcast hosting and guesting, through to promoting and growing your show. If you'd like to discover how podcasting could benefit your business, click the link in the show notes to book a no-obligation chat about working with me. Or if you're interested in being a guest on this show, email John, that's Jon, at architecturebusinessclub.com. Now, let's meet Heidi. Heidi Suutari is the co-founder and CEO of Arkiste, a digital playground made just for design professionals where architects and designers can show off their best work and get found by dream clients. Based in Helsinki but running an international crew, she's a tech and marketing pro who's obsessed with helping creative people win online. Heidi once got rejected from architecture school, but now she's building Arkiste. So what goes around comes around, right? Always learning and passionate about helping others to succeed, Heidi's here to make sure your work gets noticed online. And if you'd like to start showcasing your work online, head to arkiste.com and sign up, or just click the link in the show notes. Heidi, welcome to Architecture Business Club.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here, and it's good to chat with you.
Oh, it's great to have you here. Yeah, really happy to be having a conversation with you today. Heidi, before we dig into the topic that we're going to talk about, I'd like to know a little bit about you outside of the work that you do. Can you tell me a little bit about what you enjoy doing outside of work?
Well, outside of work, I love gardening. So that is what I do, at least in the summertime over here. I actually have a lot of land just outside the city of Helsinki where I grow my tomatoes and squashes and whatever plants and veggies. So that is actually one thing I enjoy quite a lot. So actually I'm planning to go there to water the tomatoes after this podcast as well.
So I will say this now. I'm not green-fingered at all. Like my wife, she's the one that enjoys the gardening. I love sitting in the garden and walking amongst the nature and gardens, but I'm terrible when it comes to anything gardening related. Having said that, many years ago when I was a teenager, I did some summer work on a tomato farm. So that was my kind of like farm agricultural experience. So yeah, and it used to take ages once I got back home, like cleaning the green off my hands. But I've never gone back to it since. So that was quite a long time ago when I did that.
Well, I can tell you that my plant or plantation is way more smaller scale. So there is only like 3 tomato plants over there. So not industrial level.
Yeah, we were dealing with hundreds. So yeah, probably a slightly different scale. But yeah, great to be doing something like that though. So Heidi, we're going to talk about long-term online strategies so that you can build visibility online without the burnout. Yeah, I think it's going to be a great topic to talk about and really useful for everybody because it is really easy to get overwhelmed with all the different options we have online. So having some long-term strategies we can use, that's going to be great for everyone. So just before we dig into that, could you tell me a little bit about how you ended up here in this world of architecture?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, as I said in the intro, I did apply to architecture school in 20 years ago. Didn't get in, but yeah, I started doing other things. But design has been always very core and close thing to me. So I have studied graphic design, for example. But they have graduated or started to do digital marketing and working with technology and things online, basically. But I started like a while ago thinking like, I want to do something else that it's like more interesting than just helping B2B companies, tech companies, and create something on my own. And I met my co-founder, who is actually, he has a background in architecture, but he is currently working as a UX designer. And we came together and we were starting to brainstorm different ideas, like what we should do and what kind of things are exciting us. That's basically how Arkiste came about. We started to think like, okay, there are like platforms for those people who create digital stuff, digital pixels, graphic designers, and so on the internet. There are platforms for them, but they are not platforms for people who create actual physical places. I mean, of course, there's like art dailies and such places, but they are more curated ones. And of course, they're Instagram or Behance, but they are not like specifically made for this industry or this field. So what we were deciding that, yeah, let's do a place where people who design places, architects, interior designers, they can share their work. It can be a professional community, so to speak. So where you can connect with your colleagues and potential employers, and also a place where potential clients can find you. So that's basically like a short background how Arkiste came about.
Cool. Well, we'll touch upon that again before we wrap things up. So it's interesting. Yeah, both you and your co-founder, there was that interest or background in architecture that's kind of led you to where you are now. Yeah. Let's dig into then some of the strategies then, these long-term online strategies that we can use to build our visibility. Could we start with SEO? Yeah. How do people actually search for architects online when they're looking for a practice to work with?
Yeah, I think that it can actually start way before they are ready to actually buy. So people can dream or think about their like dream houses or dream things and save your work to their own inspiration boards or wherever. So I think that is a very good reason to put your work out there to these platforms before your potential client even knows that they are looking for your services. So expose people beforehand. But also, I think like when they are starting to get ready to buy and ready to look for the professionals they are looking for, they are using probably like architects in your city or interior architect or interior designer in your city, or they are looking for certain styles or certain types of designs. So I think it's like super important that your website's language or the language that you're speaking with is actually matching these keywords that they are showing up in Google search. And I think like in the future, maybe even ChatGPT search. So it's like the similar thing actually to optimize your websites to those both search places, basically. So you need to talk about what you do and be very clear what kind of services you provide, and try to think a bit like a client that is looking up for the type of services that you provide, and try to think like what kind of keywords I should put my website.
Okay. So one of the things there that I'm picking up on is that people could be thinking about a project way before they're ready to hire.
Yes.
They could be exploring and looking for ideas online and sort
Indeed.
of doing that sort of research to kind of get ideas and learn about what they could do.
Yes.
So there's an opportunity for us to be found far earlier in that journey, from them having that initial idea to
Yeah.
them actually getting to the point, which could be way down the line, when they're actually ready to invest in working with an architect or a design professional.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that if we put content out there online and we consider the types of words, the types of language that our prospective customers will be searching for when we're putting our portfolio out there or talking about what we do, that then we can capture people. They can be looking for our portfolio, or they could be reading our articles way before in advance. And then when it gets to the point when they are ready to buy, we're more likely to be front of mind when they are ready to work with us. Does that kind of sum up what you're thinking?
Yeah. So yeah, definitely. People are, I think, like, when I think myself, I like to do my research before, and I like to dream, and I like to plan things, and I do have my Pinterest boards about things I'd love to have in my future house, or things I love. So I can use those. I mean, those are the things that, if you, as a designer, you put your work out there, you might end up in the mood boards of the clients, and maybe the potential clients are loving you enough so that they are actually reaching out to you when it actually is time to make these decisions, when they are ready to buy.
Okay. So if we're going to put out our work and we're going to share our portfolio, how can we make our portfolios easier to find online?
Yeah, I think, like, you have to put your first thing first. You have to put your portfolio online so that it's not buried in your computer. I think, like, I think, like, the audience for this are more entrepreneurs. But if you are or an architect working for a company, you still put your work out there, and not just bury it into the PDFs on your computer, because nobody it's not gonna find it. So it's like, I think it's important to use the different platforms whenever you are creating a new project. So just update those at the same time. You're updating your portfolio that lives on your computer, or whenever you have, like, a new project. So you should have that there. But I think, like, what you should definitely include to every case you have is the location, the styles, challenges that you had with that project in that description. So Google and all these other search engines are able to find those projects because it's Google, it is still just a machine. It is not very much else than just a machine. So, and the machine understands language, written language especially. So Google is able to crawl those websites and find the information on those websites. So the better descriptions and the more you tell about your projects, it's easier to those machines, search engines, to find you and push you out to the right people when they're searching for those results. So yeah, that is at least one thing. And for the website, it's smart to create a dedicated page for each project that you worked with, so that you have, like, good images and good descriptions. And for the website, it's also very important that you link to one page to another. And you also get links from other pages to your project. So, for example, you create like a Pinterest pin and then of your project, and then link back to your website or back to your portfolio. So that makes also Google easier to navigate online to find your project.
Okay, so the first step is to not leave our portfolio of work just sat on our hard drive, to actually take the step to take that work and publish it online. So that's the first thing.
Yes.
Then in doing that, you mentioned that it was really important to have a good description with those images. So rather than just that portfolio just being some glossy photos, that's great, but like even better to make it more discoverable, we have a detailed description about the project. And you mentioned there about talking about some of the challenges that maybe were faced during the process of bringing that project to life. So it's the more information we can put in there, then the more words we've, Google's got to be able to find. And particularly if we're using amongst that copy keywords and phrases that our ideal customers could be using, that then there's an opportunity for us to put those in that description within the portfolio, which is going to make it easier to find. And the last thing you mentioned was about the importance of the links. So like we've got an opportunity to then link, to take that page that we have for that project, to link it to other places, and to also have links from other platforms like Pinterest, for example, that if the images get shared there, we can then backlink it back to our portfolio on our website. Yeah.
And that is actually one super important thing that a lot of people don't even know about that much. So it's like super important to get those links to your site. So your site is getting like this authority, and it shows up higher on Google as well.
So let's talk a little bit about Pinterest, about how we could use Pinterest. Could you share your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think like it's a brilliant tool for people who design different spaces. It's like one of the biggest actually search engines. So it's not just a place to put your beautiful pictures, but it works as a search engine. So you can put your pictures there, and then you have to put your descriptions of those pictures over there as well. So I think it's like smart to tell about the project or tell about that picture that you have there. And it's evergreen. So it is not something like, for example, if you post your pictures on Instagram, Instagram is a bit different. So it is not, people go there more to just look other people or look just stuff. And it's like, it's not a place where you can actually link to your website. But in Pinterest, you can actually link to your website. And usually Pinterest is a place where people are going to find this like inspiration and looking for different ideas. So Pinterest, I think it's like super great tool for architects and interior designers. And I think it's like a bit not like underused, but going a bit like under the radar. But basically, what you should do there is post the images from your sites or from your projects to drive actually traffic back to your portfolio. So you get those backlinks from Pinterest, and then also create boards of your specialities. So, for example, create a board if you are, let's say you design office spaces, so you can create a different boards about like modern office spaces or London office spaces. So you should create those boards so they are showing up when the people are actually looking for those ideas to ping on Pinterest. And when you have your Pinterest with that active, or when you have your photos on Pinterest, actually those Pinterest posts can send traffic for years, unlike Instagram or LinkedIn. It doesn't really support visuality that well. But when people, because Pinterest is a search engine, it can really drive traffic way longer than Instagram, because Instagram is more like living in the moment. Of course, you can put these hashtags and whatnot, but if you have, for example, posted your work to Instagram like 5 years ago, or even a year ago, it really doesn't come up that easily, because it is an old post. But in Pinterest, it actually can surface if you have created right kind of if you have added right kind of keywords to there. So I think it's gonna help you like with a long-term visibility quite a lot, comparing to other social media channels that are, I think, a bit more fast-paced. So you need to really update it like all the time.
Remember, don't forget to join the waitlist for our membership community, where you can meet other business owners who want the same thing as you. A thriving business that gives you more freedom, flexibility, and fulfillment. Just go to architecturebusinessclub.com/waitlist or click the link in the show notes and enter your details so you don't miss out on this amazing opportunity to improve your business and your life. And if you're enjoying the show, then please leave a 5-star review or rating wherever you listen to podcasts. Now back to the show. Pinterest, I completely agree. It's a really underrated tool. I think you're right. It does go under the radar. If you're listening to this and you'd like to learn more about Pinterest, we did an episode specifically on Pinterest. It's probably, I can't remember the episode number, but it was with a Pinterest specialist called Faye Strange. And it was about this time last year. So you're probably going to need to go back maybe 50 episodes. But yeah, we did a whole episode on Pinterest. So please, if you'd like to learn more about that specifically, go and check that out. Okay, Heidi. So Pinterest is great and it's important, but there are other things that are important as well when it comes to long-term strategies to build your visibility online. How about our websites? I mean, how important is our own website when it comes to building our visibility online?
Yeah, I think it's like your digital HQ or your first impression to your potential clients. So it should be easy enough to navigate, and your potential clients should find easy enough your projects and what you can offer to them. I know that I have gone through like a lot of different websites that are more creative style. Sometimes they work, but sometimes they are like super confusing and not that easy to grasp as a potential client. So there should be like some elements that are in the like right places to the potential clients and easy to navigate. So they shouldn't be like too confusing. But of course, like you should definitely show your style, how you work, and why your potential clients should work with you. So that is like super important information. What there should be, what you should have there. And I think like if the website is slow or confusing, so it can really, people get frustrated really fast these days. So people can just go away and click out of your website if it's like not working, or the pictures are not loading, or it is a bit confusing. So you should have the website that is like easy to use and it's fast. And if you have SEO friendly sites, it's I think like it's key to convert those people who are interested about you into potential leads. So you should have some sort of an easy way for people to contact contact you. So have your information there and have a little box of like how people can reach you. So those things are, I think, important stuff that you should have at least nailed on your website. And to have the SEO on place. So if you are working, let's say Manchester, so you should have that on your website, and you should have at least one dedicated place. If you are, for example, interior architect in Manchester, you should have a page that you tell that you are interior architect working from Manchester and what kind of projects you actually do, and tell them, there is like, you cannot have, or you cannot tell like too much information, I think, on your website. Just make it like a different pages. If there is like lot to tell, so put out like more pages over there as well.
Okay, so have a site that is fast loading, it's clear, it's easy to navigate, and we put plenty of information on there, but we can break it down into a different number of pages to make that information more easily digestible. And that once we're clear on what type of projects and what locations we're working in, all those sorts of things, we can start to create pages on our website that are keyword optimized for, you said the example there, if you're like an interior designer or architect in Manchester, that, it'd be pretty darn good to have that written on the website, to help people to find you. So yeah, absolutely.
Indeed. And if you specialize in something, if you specialize, for example, sustainable design, or you work with sustainable materials, tell that also, because I think like nowadays people are really looking for options that are working, for example, with sustainability or something like that in mind. So tell people, and tell the Google that also, that it's able to find you.
Absolutely. So, Heidi, what about social media? Because social media, it can be exhausting for some people. They're trying to like post every day or several times a day on some platforms. I mean, what's the alternative to that approach?
Yeah, I think like, well, for example, in Instagram, I think like you have to post quite often there so that your page or your work is actually shown and seen. But I think like people should focus on quality over quantity. So I think like not posting daily. For me, I think like designers, they have like a lot of going on in their daily work. And if you are working as an entrepreneur, you have a lot of things on your table. So I think like you have to find the ways that you don't have to obsess every single day to posting different social media channels. One thing is like you can schedule stuff. So there are tools if you want to spend like one day a month to just schedule different social medias. I think that is very viable. But I think like you should also repurpose your content as well. So if you have a project update, so you can create like a multiple different post about this, and then you can repurpose those same posts, like let's say 6 months later or a year later. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel all the time. I see a lot of people who are posting on Instagram or posting on LinkedIn that they're actually they don't have that much of a content, but they are actually reposting their like old content, which is like people have short attention spans. So nobody is going to remember that, yeah, she posted that like 3 months ago. 3 months ago, and now it's again like, why is she doing that? No.
Oh, so true. It's not only do people have short attention spans, but I mean, statistically on most of the platforms, only a fraction of your audience actually will see that post. So if you're putting something out and like only 5% of your followers see it, then it makes sense that, well, surely I should post this again so that some of the other 95% that didn't see it actually get the opportunity to see it. And as you say, that you could have a selection of posts that you could just do a little bit of variation, maybe with the wording, or maybe swap out the image. It could be directing them to the same project case study, and you could have that going out on a cycle, just recycling the same content each month. Why not?
Yes, it's work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, that's it. Work smarter, not harder. That kind of sums it up well. Heidi, could you just tell us a little bit more about Arkiste? Just, you told us a little bit about how it came about in the introduction, but tell us a little bit more about who it's for and how we can use the platform.
Yeah, well, it is for people who work in the different fields of architecture and in the interior design. So architects, landscape architects, interior architects, interior designers. So it is built to solve the problem that, you don't have your outdated static portfolios sitting on your hard drive, or you don't just post to your Instagram or keep it there. So, and it is, of course you can have, like, for example, your LinkedIn, but LinkedIn doesn't really support this like visual aspect of the showing your work. And then there are like Behance or Dribble, but they are for mostly of those people who are designing pixels, not spaces. Arkiste is for people who are designing different physical spaces to show their work, keep your portfolio up to date. So it's like super easy to share your profile to potential clients or potential employers or people, colleagues or whatever. So it's like easy to show your work, share your work, and update your work. Because, when we were doing the first interviews, we realized, or we understood that there was already a problem, that sometimes in your hard drive there is a file or folder when the PDFs are named like latest portfolio 2005. 2000 something, and it's like easy way to keep your work updated and show to the right people. And idea is that it also helps to get you discovered by the right clients. So people can go to Arkiste site and they can look for different kind of projects, and the potential clients can actually reach out to you directly. So it's a place where your work is not buried into a ton of irrelevant content or a ton of behind like a lot of different types of content. So it is a place where when people have a need to find somebody to look for architects or look for a designer, they can come over there and search and first find an inspiration. So that's why it is important that you have your work shown there, and it's also important that you have your project descriptions there, so people can actually find them. And it's also a good place of gain backlinks to your website. When I was mentioning that you should get backlinks to your website from other places, so it is a great place to get those as well. And I think it's like ideal both for emerging professionals and established firms. So we are supporting currently, you can create your own personal profile on Arkiste, but then also you can create your company profile on Arkiste. I know that there are a lot of cases where there has been a one project, but there has been a lot of people who have collaborated on that project. And sometimes people are a bit afraid to share those projects if they are not like really, if it's owned by a company, for example. But we have tackled that so that, for example, when a company creates a project on the site, they can tag those people who have worked in that project. So you get that credit as well. So it will show on your profile as a collaboration project. So when you are looking for, well, if you're a person who's looking for a job, so you actually get the credit of those projects that you have been working before.
Oh, sounds really cool. Thanks for sharing that with us. Heidi, what's the main thing that you'd like everyone to take away from our conversation today about the topic we've been talking about?
I think people should treat their online presence a bit like an ecosystem, so to speak. So you should have your websites, you should have your socials, you should have your portfolio. So you should have those all, but you should have like a good, and keep those updated, all of those places, and remember to update all those. And I think like if you put, I mean, you don't have to reinvent the wheel all the time. So repurpose your content or do the small tweaks so it can really boost your visibility and bring the right kind of clients. And I think also descriptions and the authentic storytelling is super important, and you should think a bit like your client, or try to think like what your client would want to hear about these projects that you have made before, because it builds trust really fast. And the more clear the descriptions are, it's easier for the potential clients or potential employers to contact you and work with you.
Got it. That makes sense. Was there anything else you wanted to add about the topic that we haven't already covered?
Well, I think like people should show their personality and passion to come through, because of course clients love seeing that. And sometimes I think like as an architect, you might be like too deep into what you're doing, and you're seeing it a bit too close. So I suggest that you don't get stuck on these like technical details or technical jargon, and try to think like the message that you're sending to the clients. So clients want clear messaging and clear descriptions, and the clients want to know that why you're different and why they should work basically with you.
I love that. So show a bit more personality, and be really clear with how you describe things. So it's easy for you, the right clients, to understand what you do. So Heidi, I got one more question I wanted to ask. I love to travel and to discover new places. I was just wondering if you could tell me about one of your favourite places and what you love about it.
Oh, well, I have been traveling in Finland to the Lapland, but I usually don't go there into winter time because it's quite dark over there and quite cold. But I like going there in the summertime when the sun doesn't set down and is super nice and it's super beautiful. Sometimes it's like super hot as well. So maybe a trip to Finnish Lapland would be nice, and then you can go to have a sauna over there and hiking and all that stuff.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. Yeah, that sounds well worth a visit. I shall add it to the growing bucket list of places to visit.
Yeah, you should do that.
So, Heidi, thanks again for joining us today, for coming along, sharing your expertise. Do you want to just remind everybody about the website, the domain, where they can find it?
Yeah, it's arkiste.com.
Yeah. Okay. And that is, I'll spell that out actually, just so there's no confusion. That's arkiste.com. And I'll put a link in the show notes as well, so it's easy for people to find the site. Perfect. Well, thanks again, Heidi.
Thank you very much. It was very pleasant to talk with you, John.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Architecture Business Club. If you liked this episode, think other people might enjoy it, or just want to show your support for the show, then please leave a glowing 5-star review or rating wherever you listen to podcasts. It would mean so much to me and makes it easier for new listeners to discover the show. And if you haven't already done so, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss another episode. If you want to connect with me, you can do that on most social media platforms. Just search for @Mr. John Clayton. The best place to connect with me online, though, is on LinkedIn. You can find a link to my profile in the show notes. Remember, running your architecture business doesn't have to be hard, and you don't need to do it alone. This is Architecture Business Club.